There is a fundamental truth in my line of work. Numbers never lie. People lie. They lie to their bosses, they lie to the IRS, and they lie to their spouses. But if you know how to read a balance sheet, the money will always tell you the truth. My name is Ryan. I'm 33 years old, and I am a forensic accountant. I specialize in tracking missing corporate funds, identifying embezzlement, and auditing shell companies. My days are spent looking at rows of data on a computer screen. I admit, I'm not the most exciting guy in the world. I don't go skydiving. I like routine, quiet evenings, and stability. 5 years ago, I married Olivia. Olivia was the complete opposite of me. She was vibrant, loud, and loved luxury. She told me she ran a highly successful, high-ticket online consulting business, advising wealthy clients on lifestyle and networking. I was proud of her. She worked weird hours, taking calls late at night, and frequently traveled for client retreats to Miami and Dubai. She was making incredible money, bringing in over $15,000 a month, which she kept in her separate business accounts. She bought herself a Porsche Macan and constantly wore new Cartier jewelry. She told me my modest accountant salary covered our boring bills, like the mortgage and groceries, while her income funded our future. I believed her, because when you love someone, you don't audit them. You just trust them. But a forensic accountant can only turn a blind eye to bad math for so long.
The red flags didn't start with lipstick on a collar or late-night text messages. They started with basic economics. Olivia's lifestyle was aggressively outpacing her supposed income. You don't need to be a CPA to know that a $15,000 a month gross income does not support first-class flights to Dubai every 6 weeks, a Porsche, in a closet full of Hermes Birkin bags that cost $20,000 each. When I gently asked her about her cash flow and suggested we sit down and look at her tax strategy, she became incredibly defensive. "Ryan, you don't understand my industry," she snapped, rolling her eyes. "My clients buy me these things as gifts. It's part of the networking culture. Stop treating me like one of your suspects." Then came the physical distance. Olivia started locking her home office door. She installed a privacy screen protector on her phone so I couldn't see it if I sat next to her. She stopped wearing her wedding ring, claiming it scratched her laptop keyboard. The final red flag was the mail. A letter arrived at our house addressed to an LLC I had never heard of, Sapphire Management Group. It looked like a standard bank notice. I asked Olivia about it. She snatched it from my hand. "It's just a holding company for my new consulting brand," she said nervously. But I had already memorized the return address. It was from a private wealth management bank in the Cayman Islands. My wife wasn't an online consultant, so I decided to do my job.
In forensic accounting, if you want to find the rat, you follow the cheese. The next time Olivia flew to Miami for a weekend client summit, I booted up my personal laptop and ran a deep public records search on Sapphire Management Group, LLC. The registered agent was a corporate law firm, which is a common tactic to hide the true owner, but they made a sloppy mistake. The LLC had recently filed a routine municipal business permit, and the secondary contact listed on the permit was Olivia's personal email address. I traced the LLC's banking routing numbers using a specialized financial database I have access to for work. The money flowing into Olivia's LLC wasn't coming from hundreds of consulting clients. It was coming from exactly one source, a corporate account belonging to Apex Logistics, a massive regional shipping company. I looked up the CEO of Apex Logistics. His name was Richard. He was 55, married with 3 kids, and a prominent local multimillionaire. I accessed our shared home network router logs,
I found the IP addresses Olivia's phone was connecting to the most. I cross-referenced the data. Olivia wasn't running a business. She was a professional sugar baby. Richard was her sugar daddy. He was paying her a salary, buying her cars, and funding her luxury life in exchange for a discreet, ongoing affair. But that wasn't the discovery that made my jaw drop. As I looked at the wire transfers from Apex Logistics, I realized they were coming from their operational vendor accounts, masked as B2B marketing expenses. Richard wasn't paying Olivia with his personal millions. He was actively embezzling corporate funds from his own shareholders to pay his mistress. My wife was unknowingly participating in a multi-million-dollar federal wire fraud and money laundering scheme.
Most men would have called their wife, screamed at her, and demanded a divorce. But I am an auditor. I don't operate on emotion. I operate on evidence. If I confronted Olivia, she would tip off Richard. Richard was a powerful CEO with expensive lawyers. He would instantly destroy the paper trail, burn the LLCs, and I would be left looking like a crazy, jealous husband. I needed to be a ghost. Over the next 3 months, I played the role of the boring, oblivious accountant. I kissed Olivia when she came home from her exhausting trips with Richard. I complimented her new luxury bags. I made her dinner while she texted her sugar daddy under the table. Every night, while she slept, I built my dossier. I mapped out the entire corporate structure of Apex Logistics. I found 3 other shell LLCs receiving similar payments. Olivia wasn't his only sugar baby. Richard had a whole roster funded by his company. I downloaded public financial disclosures, matched them with the wire transfers I had traced, and created a 150-page forensic report detailing exactly how Richard was defrauding his investors to the tune of $4.5 million. I didn't take this to a divorce lawyer. Divorce is civil. I wanted a nuclear strike. I took my dossier to the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC.
In the United States, there is a program called the SEC Whistleblower Reward Program. If you provide original, high-quality information that leads to a successful federal enforcement action against corporate fraud, the government pays you a bounty. The bounty is between 10% and 30% of the total money they recover. I hired a specialized federal whistleblower attorney. We submitted the dossier anonymously under the SEC program. The federal agents were absolutely thrilled. I had handed them a fully investigated, gift-wrapped embezzlement case against a major CEO. They immediately opened a covert federal investigation. They subpoenaed the bank records, tapped Richard's phones, and started watching Olivia. My lawyer told me, "Ryan, when the FBI moves in, it's going to be a bloodbath. Federal civil asset forfeiture means they will seize anything bought with the stolen money. Your wife is going to lose everything." I just smiled. I know, that's the point. 6 months later, Olivia came to me. She was glowing. Richard had finally promised to leave his wife for her. "Ryan, I want a divorce," she said, trying to look sympathetic. "I've outgrown this life. I've met someone who can provide for me on my level. I want to keep all my business assets, my cars, and my jewelry. You can keep the house." "Okay, Olivia," I said, pretending to hold back tears. "If that's what you really want, have your lawyer send the papers." She thought she had won. She didn't know the FBI was already sitting outside her new apartment.
Olivia officially moved into a stunning $10,000 a month penthouse that Richard had leased for her. They were planning a massive coming-out party for their relationship that Friday. Friday morning at 6 a.m., the hammer fell. I wasn't there, but I read the federal indictment reports later. Over 50 FBI and IRS agents raided the headquarters of Apex Logistics. They marched Richard out of his glass office in handcuffs in front of his entire company, charging him with 15 counts of wire fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering. At the exact same time, a team of federal agents kicked in the door of Olivia's penthouse. Olivia woke up to men in tactical vests tearing her apartment apart. Because every single thing she owned was bought with stolen corporate funds, it was subject to immediate federal seizure. They took the keys to her Porsche Macan. They confiscated all her Cartier jewelry. They loaded her $20,000 Hermes bags into evidence boxes. They even froze all her bank accounts, completely draining the consulting business money she had hidden from our divorce. She was left standing in the hallway of her luxury building in her pajamas, holding nothing but her cell phone, completely destitute. She called me, screaming, crying, completely hysterical.
Ryan, the FBI is here. They took everything. They arrested Richard. Please, you have to help me. You're an accountant. Tell them it's a mistake.
I answered from my office, sipping my morning coffee. It's not a mistake, Olivia, I said calmly. I'm the one who filed the audit. Your sugar daddy stole from his investors, and you were the fencing operation. You should have paid closer attention to the math. My lawyer will email you the final divorce decree today. Good luck with the feds. I hung up the phone.
The fallout was spectacular. Richard's life was completely vaporized. His wife divorced him instantly, taking whatever clean assets were left. Because he stole over $4 million, he was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Olivia was investigated as a co-conspirator. She avoided jail time because she successfully proved she was just a clueless sugar baby who didn't know the money was stolen. But the government didn't give her stuff back. The cars, the jewelry, the cash, it was all liquidated to repay the company's shareholders. During our divorce, she tried to demand alimony because she was now unemployed and broke. The judge laughed her out of the courtroom, citing her involvement in a federal fraud case and her hidden illicit income. She walked away with literally $0 and 0 assets. But the best part? The absolute cherry on top? A year later, the SEC officially closed the case and recovered $4.5 million. Because my dossier was the catalyst for the entire investigation, I was awarded the maximum whistleblower bounty, 30%. The United States government wire transferred $1.35 million into my personal bank account, tax-free.
It's been almost 4 years since that Friday morning. I didn't quit my job. I actually love forensic accounting. But I did use the SEC bounty to buy a beautiful house on a lake, and I take regular vacations to places far nicer than Dubai. I'm currently dating a wonderful woman who is a school teacher. She doesn't own a single designer bag, and she is the most beautiful person I've ever met. As for Olivia, last I heard, she moved back into her childhood bedroom at her parents' house. She works the perfume counter at a mid-tier department store, completely blacklisted from the luxury lifestyle she tried so hard to steal. If there is a lesson to be learned here, it's this. If you are going to betray the person who loves you, make sure you know exactly what they do for a living. Don't mistake a quiet partner for a stupid one. And if you ever find out that someone is funding their secret life with dirty money, don't get mad, get the evidence. Then sit back, make a cup of coffee, and let the federal government do your dirty work for you. Thanks for listening to my story. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what's the biggest lie someone has ever tried to sell you? Stay smart and always check the receipts.